नमस्कार। सहज गैस्ट्रो केयर और सर्जन फर्टिलिटी सेंटर भावनगर की ओर से आप सबका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आज के इस एपिसोड में। हमारा आज का ये एपिसोड काफ़ी लेट आया है, पर जब आप ये एपिसोड देखेंगे तो आई एम श्योर कि आपके सारे गिले शिकवे दूर हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि आज की हमारी जो मेहमान है वो ना सिर्फ रंग, रूप और खुशबू की धनी है, पर उनमें कूट कूट के दो चीज़ें भरी है, प्रतिभा और आत्मविश्वास। So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome today a prolific writer, actor, RJ of the decade, and whom we fondly call Ahmedabadni Rani, RJ Devaki. So, welcome to the show, ma'am, and it's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much.
So, हम बात कर रहे हैं कि आपका बचपन कैसे बीता, आप शुरुआत कैसी रही आपकी, क्योंकि आपकी मदर जो कि अदिति बेन है अभी भी एक्टिव है एट दिस एज, शी इज डूइंग ट्रेमेंडस वर्क। आपके पिताजी जिन्होंने जब तक जीवन थे काफ़ी सराहनीय काम किया, और आप जशवंत ठाकर साहब की तो नातिन है, तो आप जो है उनका जो लीनिएज है वही इतना सुंदर है। तो आपका बचपन सबसे अलग था कि वो अपने जैसा ही था, नॉर्मल बच्चों जैसा?
नॉर्मल बच्चों जैसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं था। हमारे ड्राइंग रूम में उमाशंकर जोशी और मनु भाई पंचोड़ी, वी सिटिंग इन भावनगर, लोक भारती पास में है। yes. तो दर्शक जैसे गेस्ट्स आते थे फ्रीक्वेंटली, तो ड्राइंग रूम की बातें जो हैं वो बहुत ही अलग होती थी। पन्नालाल पटेल के गांव जाते थे, सोक्रेटिस के बारे में बातें सुनते थे दर्शक से, तो वो कहानियाँ थी बचपन की। और डाइनिंग टेबल पे जब मंथ एंड में बातें होती थी तो हिसाब की बातें नहीं होती थी, पर पॉलिटिक्स में क्या हो रहा है उसके बारे में पता चलता था। माई ग्रैंडफादर वॉज अ कम्युनिस्ट फ्रॉम माई मदर्स साइड, माई ग्रैंडफादर फ्रॉम माई फादर्स साइड वॉज अ गांधीयन, सो वी ऑल्सो हैड अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ टू डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग। एंड एट द सेम टाइम पापा, जब मैं छोटी थी तब मुक्तधारा कर रहे थे टैगोर की। तो I think I was very fortunate to get many different viewpoints at the same place. उससे ज़्यादा डिफरेंट ये भी था कि मैं नॉर्मल बच्चों के जैसे बाहर जाके खेलना और वो सब कम ही होता था। I was a single child, and both my parents were in theatre, so they were quite, let's say, consumed by rehearsals and creating more of it. So I was always busy, maybe writing poems, attending the rehearsals, reading the scripts. My father used to complain that, all the other actors used to complain, saying, "Usse sab dialogues yaad hai, wo hame bolne hi nahi deti." So I used to be quite a prompter, and maybe started managing production at a very early age, backstage. Used to write poems, used to write plays. I used to paint. Learned dancing at a very early age. I used to learn Kathak, music at a very early age. So I was being equipped with multi-art options.
Right.
So जब मैं बड़ी हुई तब मेरी माँ मुझे पूछती थी कि बड़ी होके क्या बनना चाहती हो, तो मैं I used to say that कि मैं गाने गाना चाहती हूँ, मैं डांस करना चाहती हूँ, मैं एक्टिंग चाहती हूँ। And she was like, ऐसा कौन बोलता है कि मैं बड़े होके गाना, नाचना और अभिनय करना चाहती हूँ।
बट आई थिंक वो शायद यू वर बोर्न इन दैट एटमॉस्फेयर, आपके आसपास यही सब चलता रहता था दिन भर।
It's true, but Nidhi, to your surprise, life always has its own course and its own plan for you. So when I started doing radio, it suddenly made me feel like, अरे मुझे जो सब करना था सब चला गया, क्योंकि इसमें तो performing arts limited हो जाता है, because you are only performing through your voice. तो शुरू में बहुत ही restricted लगा था, जो लोगों को शायद when I meet people, and because my longer tenure or people's understanding of me, or they got to know about me through radio more, because theatre has a lesser reach in comparison of radio. Radio has about 60 lakh people listening to you every day, so it's one of the largest mediums of media
available currently.
Correct.
Yeah. But then what we have heard, maybe hear and say, but I've heard you saying occasionally that radio just happened. It happened by fluke.
Yeah, correct.
So will you, just
explain
tell our viewers how it happened?
So there was the first RJ hunt was happening in India, and it was happening in Ahmedabad. And I had gone with a friend who wanted to buy a form and apply for it. I had already signed a daily serial that I was doing for Z and Padmalaya in Bombay, and I had signed a contract. And I had already shot for it for almost 6 months in Hyderabad. So ये सब चल रहा था और मैं बीच में for a break I had come back to Ahmedabad, and I went with this friend of mine to buy the form, and they did not have change, so they gave us 2 forms. Right. So the sarcastic humor that I have in me, which is still going on as Bajate Raho. So I must have told my friend, I said, don't let me participate, I'll end up winning it.
But probably were destined to win it.
So, no, he laughed it off, of course, because he knew that, this is the way I kind of laugh at things. And somewhere in my head, I was also confident thinking that, I've done I've done the combination of so many expressions of art that this is only voice, usme kaun si badi baat hai, is what I was thinking, without knowing that there are thousands of people participating in this. And unfortunately, my friend couldn't clear the first round. I ended up winning the RJ Hunt. And he said, you said it, and now it has happened.
You did it.
And he said, now would you want to do it? I said, pagal hai kya? Main kyun karungi ye? This is only voice. And I also used to think that RJs maybe just do buffoonery, they do slapstick, they do mimicry. I did not see more depth or possibility of exploring more of yourself through that medium. Also, it was very freshly new as a private FM was a very new idea in India. So that's why I didn't take it seriously. Unfortunately, the project that I was part of, Padmalaya and Z had a split.
Oh.
So that went into dabba, as they say in our industry. Ki serial dabbe mein chali. Dabbe to ab to hote hi nahi hai. Us time pe it was already a digital yug, but they were still saying dabbe mein chali. So I had some free time, so I ended up joining the brand. And I also told, when I met the national programming head, I said, I don't think you made the right choice. I said, I'm not the right person for it. So I don't think I can make people laugh. I'm a very serious person. So he said, do you think you can make people cry? So I said, I can try. So he said, do that. I don't think you're going to stick around anyway. You're an actor, you'll go back to acting. I don't think you're going to stick around. I said, I think we both have the same opinion about me.
So why not give it a shot?
I was like, if you don't have a problem, I don't have a problem. I can try it out. So why? I was thinking that in middle of 2 projects, I'm going to spend some time with radio. And how it became from few months to a year, and from a year to few years, and now it's been 2 decades now.
So life has its own plans for you. Correct. And I think the way this privatization of this FM radio has changed the entire world's perception towards radio. Yeah. I think you have been an integral part of that change in India, at least.
Yes, I have. I can take that credit for sure. Yeah, because we were the first RJs of India initially, and the good part was that we did not have anyone to look up to, and so we could make our mistakes, and people could also forgive us. Now people have us. So when they join, they have a comparison, and it's little difficult for them to be new and make mistakes and learn from them and things like that. At the same time, we were too clueless. If we had, someone to look up to who was in the same flavor as we were in, because we had Shri Harish Bhimani and cult names like that, but they were doing radio in a Amin Sayani ji, and they were doing radio in a very different manner. So they were not treating their audience as their friend or buddy.
Exactly.
For them, they were at a different pedestal. The audience was at a different pedestal, and there was a very clear formality distance between them.
Exactly.
एक तहजीब उसके साथ आती थी, which was also beautiful, and we wanted to make it casual, and जैसे देवकी तुम्हारे कंधे पे हाथ रख के बात कर रही है,
so I think that is what connected with the millennials and Gen Z, who actually want friends.
Correct.
They don't want advisors. Absolutely. They absolutely don't like taking advice from anybody. I think that is what I've learned.
We actually found what we wanted at that point of time.
Exactly. So you were in Mumbai and you were doing projects everywhere. So shifting back to Ahmedabad, how conscious was that decision, and was it rewarding enough? Not financially, overall.
I wouldn't be able to say that because I don't know if I would have stayed there, whether I would have made it differently, whether I would have flopped in a big way. One wouldn't know, na? There's always what if.
Yeah.
So you can't answer that. But whatever that happened in Ahmedabad, I'm extremely grateful to the destiny. Getting love of so many people, getting faith of so many people, having so many people who are willing to talk to you, who want to kind of, give you a hug
and share
a
every part of their life.
Yeah, take your picture and take your wishes for their families. And it's just so overwhelming that, there's so much love in the world is what you see when you meet so many people and you realize that, in media or in recent times, we see so much heightened emotions of hate most of the times. Yeah. But the reality is that there are so many people who are so full of love and joy and, I don't even know how to put the hugs in words that I receive from people, but I don't think I can be...
But whatever we have found is that the topics which you have selected, they've touched every people's heart, whether it's a small kid to an old dadaji, it's touched everyone's heart.
Because I've lived half of that age group that we're talking about, and the other half I've lived with. And the more you bring your own life or things that you relate to your content, it becomes much easier to connect with the universe. I think where we go wrong, which is also sometimes I watch other people's content on different platforms in different languages and understand why I am unable to relate to something. And then I realize that maybe the content has been dug with an idea of what will work rather than what's my story.
Yeah. Your sensitive
so what affected
part, your
me,
heart,
right?
Yeah.
So when you focus on that, I think it gets much easier. It's frightening initially because you feel like you're opening your own wounds by sharing things that affected you and that are also affecting people. But at the same time, if you can't open your own wound, how can you expect somebody else to open theirs?
Yes. So sometimes you have stirred the hornet's nest.
It's
but
just part of the game.
Sensitive topics, I must tell you, especially menstruation, which is still a taboo in our society, and to menopause. I think on your social media, you have discussed everything about menstruation, menopause.
As I said, these all stories come from my own experiences. My best friend, she comes from this religion where you were not allowed to touch anything while you were going through your menstruation. And from a very young age, we knew each other since we were 14 or 15. And I saw her suffering and bickering and crying and feeling dejected and rejected from such an early age that by the time I started getting the power of being the head of programming, not till I was only RJ, but once I started having the controls where I could decide the vision of the brand, direction of the brand, I thought I would want to talk about things that people think that this should only be spoken as an NGO or this should only be spoken as an educational program. But why not on a mainstream media which is going to have so many people's reach audiences, and if they have faith in you as a person, they would want to listen to you. So menopause also came from my mother's own experiences. I could see her suffer while I was growing up. And I thought, why don't we talk about it? So these are all home stories.
Yeah, this is what actually the youth want. They want somebody to talk about their issues, something which they are going through at home and all. एंड मेंस्ट्रुएशन अभी भी आई थिंक इन स्कूल्स मैंने काफी देखा है कि जब भी वो रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम का चैप्टर आता है दे आइसोलेट द किड्स
करेक्ट इसे ये घर पे पढ़ लेना
से बेटर लड़कों को अलग पढ़ाते हैं लड़कियों को अलग
पढ़ाते हैं। पढ़ाते ही नहीं थे, हमें तो यही कहते थे कि आप घर पे ही पढ़ लेना।
मींस मैं अभी अपनी बेटी की बात कर रही हूँ, वी हैव आल्सो गॉन थ्रू योर फेज ओनली कि ये पढ़ लो या देख लो या इससे इतने मार्क्स का आएगा, ये क्वेश्चंस।
यू नो निधि, आई वाज आल्सो वेरी फॉर्चुनेट। माय मदर गेव मी, so she used to work with a lot of NGOs and used to use theatre as a tool to help the underprivileged get empowered. तो Augusto Ball का एक theatre practice है, and she used to practice that with the villages in Gujarat. She's worked with about 200 villages for 10 years. and she knew about this animated book, cartoon book that she gave me in class 5 that explained to me about everything. I was to go for a trip at Lakshadweep, and I was in class 5 and I was to go with other kids for about 15 days. And she thought, what if I'm going to get my period on the trip? Then she did not want me to get scared or panic, and I would be in the middle of the sea. So what would you do as a child, or So that's why she gave me that book to read. And once I read it, it was like a story book. So I read it and it became easy. Then she, of course, had a conversation with me. In fact, when I started talking about this on radio, we had shared these help books. कि अगर बच्चों को आप उनके बारे में, उनके साथ अगर आप बॉडी पार्ट्स के बारे में बात करना चाहते हो या सेक्सुअल अब्यूज के बारे में बात करना चाहते हो, तो कौन सी एज से यू स्टार्ट टॉकिंग टू चिल्ड्रन अबाउट इट? एंड अपेरेंटली दैट एज इज 2.5. So from the age that kids start talking,
and they go
you
to
start
play
talking
school.
to them. तो मैं बहुत लंबे समय से कहती हूँ कि जब से कपड़े आ गए शरीर गंदा हो गया. तो we keep telling children when they touch themselves, we say अरे shame, ऐसा कौन करता है, छी ऐसे मत करो. So we start telling them that this body part is accepted and this is not accepted. This is good and this is not good. We don't explain good touch, bad touch. So many problems.
So the way in which we cater to our kids, actually develops them into individuals in the future.
Absolutely.
So it is a moral duty,
also,
I think.
Why as a society we want our teenagers to learn about sex through porn?
Exactly.
I mean, why do you want their friends to tell them about it rather than
and
parents
these
sitting
are
and explaining
bedroom conversations, we are on a boom. We have the largest population.
Correct.
Imagine, what a paradox it is.
We are the mothers and fathers of Kama Sutra. What are we talking about?
True. So this is a very important point to be driven home, that teenagers, kids need to be taught about these things at the right age. They should be made aware, and it should be an inclusive talk.
Sure. Also,
so if you have a son and daughter at home, they should be taught the same things together.
Absolutely. If there are ads on TV for sanitary napkins or condoms, why do we just tell them that, either you switch the channel?
Yeah, exactly.
Or you will tell them, I've asked people कि some parents will say नहीं हम तो channel switch नहीं करते, हम उससे बात करते हैं. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा क्या बात करते हो? नहीं हम उससे बोलते हैं कि जब तुम बड़े होगे तब तुम्हें बताएंगे.
हाँ, तब पता चल जाएगा.
So why would kids have that patience for next 10 years or 4 years कि 4 साल के बाद बताऊंगा? इतने भी ऐसा तो कैसे हो सकता है?
Problem ये है कि now everything is available at the click of a finger. Correct. And the problem is कि teenagers then find it out through different resources. They don't go the right way.
At least they have internet, ma'am. I mean, in maybe your childhood, my mother's childhood, they didn't even have the internet. तो कौन किससे क्या बात करता होगा? अगर तुम्हारे साथ abuse भी होता है या कुछ भी होता है, you will not have vocabulary to tell your parents
that what actually transpired.
Exactly क्या हुआ?
What actually transpired.
तो और and also the guilt factor कि लोग तुम्हें बोलेंगे कि ये तो तुम्हारी वजह से हुआ होगा. तो वो एक दूसरा problem है. There's a huge number, apart from the menstruation and menopause, we've also spoken about child sexual abuse, especially with men. इसके बारे में तो बात ही नहीं होती है. औरतों के बारे में तो अभी भी हम बात करते हैं. पर लड़कों के साथ जो सेक्सुअल अब्यूज होते हैं वो तो उनके लिए तो और भी मतलब ashamed
बात हो गई है. मुश्किल होता है बाहर आना उस टॉपिक को लेकर.
पेरेंट्स सुनते नहीं, उनकी बात मानते नहीं है. लड़के, बड़े लड़के छोटे लड़कों को जिस तरह से एक्सप्लॉइट करते हैं, इतना बड़ा नंबर है ये. इट्स अनबिलीवेबल. इन आवर ओन सोसाइटी हम बोलते रहते हैं कि हमारा मतलब संस्कृति ये वो सब सही है, पर ये भी एक बहुत ही
एक अहम हिस्सा है जिसको
और बड़ी परेशानी
नहीं
है, जिसको हम पूरा छोड़ ही दे रहे हैं कि नहीं ऐसा तो हमारे यहाँ तो होता ही
नहीं. एग्जैक्ट. कमिंग टू द फन पार्ट, आपने बहुत सारे रेडियो इंटरव्यूज किए हैं. So how does it feel sitting on the other side of the table?
Very relieved. I know what you feel. And that's not good.
I'm cool. You can check my blood pressure.
I'm just kidding. What I mean is that, it's the pressure is much lesser when you don't have to make the conversation more interesting, like you don't have to keep digging.
But आपने name it and you've had them on your list, starting from our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Amitabh Bachchan, SR के, जिनको हम सिर्फ सपने में ही देखते हैं, आप उनसे मिली हुई है.
कभी-कभी अच्छा ही है उनको सपने में ही आप देखो.
नहीं, पर आपके साथ काफी वाकये तो हुए होंगे. So किसके साथ इंटरव्यू आपको बहुत मजा आया, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लगा?
I think Shahrukh has topped it all every time you interview him. He is so loving and so warm and so witty
and a sense of humor.
Spontaneous, great sense of humor and very warm, very warm. So he makes you feel really कि मैं हूँ ना. You know, I mean, and I'm not exaggerating this. He genuinely makes you feel that it's okay, you know, you're in safe hands, you're taken care of. So I'm sure they are all aware, even if it is Mr. Bachchan or even if it is our Prime Minister, they all know that, you know, when people meet them, people are either intimidated or people like us in our jobs are always taught never to be intimidated, but then they surely have the pressure of content or doing better or not coming across as a newbie.
Exactly.
You know? So you want to also establish that you are at par while you're talking to them, and they also give you that space, though you are not at par. But
so one
they give you that
difficult question:
Ji.
which was the interview you felt you should not have done?
Oh,
which
many.
you regret?
Oh, so many of them. One radio interview we did with Ranveer Shori, and Vinay Pathak.
Okay.
And they were having some nuts fun that day, and we were on radio, and we generally don't take anybody's interview straight live on radio.
Right.
So even if it is our Prime Minister, it's slightly deferred live for all the reasons that you know, we have very clear dictates on what shouldn't go on radio, because the impact of the audience is much larger.
Because you have such
the
a
reach
large
is larger.
Yeah.
That you have to, you know, you don't want to make it very political, you don't want to make it religious, you don't want to generate some sort of rebel or this or the controversy. To hai, but you should know when there is edge and when you don't want to fall off the edge.
Exactly.
So we were doing this interview, and because it's radio, people are only imagining what you're saying because you're painting pictures in people's mind. And me and there's this other fellow jock, she and I were hosting the show, and they said, you know, can we introduce you guys? And we had a brand new producer. So she allowed them to go live on radio. We kept restricting, saying, no. But they said, we have done radio in Bangalore. We're really good at this. And we were like, theek hai. And they went ahead and said, okay, so there's these two women jocks we have with us, and we are playing strip poker.
Oh my God, that was so disheartening.
And we were chits. I think I must have been 22 or 23, and we were so shocked that he said something like this. Of course, he must have said it in fun, but that's not the kind of dignified radio that we were doing at that point of time. I mean, even still we don't do it. So for them, maybe it was humor. It wasn't in a good taste for any of us. So that surely I regret.
फिर कुछ serious बातों पे भी आते हैं कि these kids these days, they have a lot of breakups, patch-ups, and a lot of relationship issues than what our parents had. Probably most of our parents had an arranged marriage. Sometimes mother, father ने एक दूसरे को देखा भी नहीं होता शादी से. Still their marriages work.
Correct.
So what is your take on relationships? And sometimes, you know, it affects their lives, their studies, their career. छोटे से break से वो इतना disturb हो जाते हैं कि सब कुछ affect हो जाता है.
मुझे तो और ही लगता है, पीयूष मिश्रा को मैंने अभी सुना था कुछ दिन पहले कहते हुए कि अरे तुम लोगों के तो दिल नहीं टूटते, तुम्हारे तो ब्रेकअप होते हैं. सो वो तो हमारे जमाने में होता था, गली में एक दिल टूटा हुआ आशिक जो यू नो दाढ़ी बड़ी होती है और नहाता नहीं है और रोता रहता है और पुराने गाने सुनता है, और यहाँ पे तो सीधा रिबाउंड, you know, from breakup to rebound or whatever. So there are two kinds of generation, I think, that we are in midst of, and some people say that bura kya hai ki, you know, this generation can quickly move on and not get so consumed by the loss of a relationship. And some feel that because you don't value the loss, you neither value the availability of the person of the relationship. So somewhere it is both. And I see a lot of people losing faith or purpose of marriage. I hear that conversation a lot around, unless there's a family pressure and people marry for that. But see, now we are not also in times when people are dependent on each other in terms of financial responsibility,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Like
that
between
is the
you and your
last thing.
husband, you don't have your dependence on him as far as the finances are concerned. So it's not the money. It's it can't be beyond few years. It can't only be the need of romance. Yeah. So what is it that you come together for? And I think that is a conversation that in our society we need to have more often. कि हम साथ में इसलिए रहते हैं शायद क्योंकि हम ऐसे किसी इंसान के साथ जीना चाहते हैं who will make us more hungry to achieve more in life, who will inspire you more, who will tell you what are your bright sides are, and who will help you to get over your limitations, who will not judge you or put you down because you're not good at something, but would be able to encourage you for what you're great at. And how do you travel a journey of life together, even if it is different destinations, but at the same pace? Or how do you complement each other in terms of coexisting? And I think that camaraderie is very difficult to find in today's times because you are consumed by different things. किसी की आंखें अच्छी हैं, किसी के होठ अच्छे हैं, किसी के बाल अच्छे हैं. और शाहरुख खान used to say, now you will say कोई ट्विटर पे अच्छा लिखता है, किसी का इंस्टाग्राम बहुत अच्छा है, कोई व्लॉग्स बड़े अच्छे बनाता है. So you know you can't have वो पूर्ण पुरुषोत्तम जो है वो पहले भी कल्पना थी और वो कल्पना ही रहनी चाहिए. If we put less pressure on our partner saying कि तुम ही सब कुछ करो, then
everybody
I think,
is going to have their own flaws. It is how you complement each other's flaws and differences.
And it's nice to be slightly incomplete.
So I think you are finding that incomplete piece of the puzzle still.
In my life?
Yeah.
Oh, I keep meeting some puzzles and then they keep puzzling me more. But yeah, I've had my own share of relationships and heartbreaks and breakups. No rebounds as yet because I'm not equipped with it. I'm the sulking types. But I take my own time to kind of get over a loss and then find my own ground and find my own space and what my need of this time is. And if I like myself enough, because if you don't like yourself enough, you can't expect somebody else to like you. So I keep refinding myself and then refind someone until somebody and I feel that, you know, we are
We were talking about your lineage. So as we said that सबको लगता है बहुत आसान होता है. देवकी के लिए अभिनय क्या है? उसके जीन्स में है, उसके खून में दौड़ रहा होगा. But you would have your fair share of struggles, whether it is about acting, whether it's about your life in general. You would have your struggles. So what were the low moments? And what were those high moments which kept you going? कि आपको क्या लगा कि अब बस हो गया, अभी नहीं करना, या कभी लगा कि नहीं यही मोमेंट है, इसके लिए तो मैं जी रही हूँ?
My father did television with a lot of children in the initial years because he used to work with ISRO. So ISRO used to have this PEJ department, which was Development and Communication Unit, and he used to be a television producer there. So he did a huge series on kids, a drama series, and apparently about 100 kids of Gujarat would have acted in that. I wasn't one of them. I wasn't one of them because my father used to think कि सब लोग बोलेंगे अरे अपने बच्चे को ही काम दे रहे हैं तो 100 बच्चों में एक बार तो तुम्हारा बच्चा हो सकता है. So you know it was the other way around that, you know, people think that in nepotism things become easy. With my father and my mother, I acted with my mother for the first time when as recent as 2012. And then next straight in 2015. So it wasn't easy. I had to earn it. That was one. Two, the kind of theatre and the kind of text that they were working around was also not the commercial space that people would want to be in. And so my acting career never got enough eyeballs in comparison of my radio career because this is a mass medium, but the kind of theatre that we do is very necessarily having an objective of doing theatre for the right purpose for the society. We want to make sure कि अखिल भारतीय रंगभूमि पे एक गुजराती रंगभूमि की जगह हो, ना ही सिर्फ ये मान ले कि हम तो सिर्फ कॉमेडी करते हैं या हम तो सिर्फ फैमिली ड्रामा बनाते हैं जिसमें सिर्फ ह्यूमर होता है, और उससे बियॉन्ड गुजरात की भाषा, गुजरात के लोग, गुजरात के रीत रिवाज, गुजरात का संगीत, गुजरात की बोलियाँ, उसके ऊपर फोकस करके हम कैसे हमारी एक और छवि बनाएं, तो उसकी एफर्ट है। तो जब आप एक नाटक करते हैं तो 2 घंटे के लिए जो देखने आते हैं उसमें शायद 700 से 1000 लोग होंगे। अगर मैं रेडियो पे 4 घंटे का शो रोज़ करती हूँ जिसमें 60 लाख लोग सुनते, सो दिस सच अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस। Nobody knew in radio when I wanted to be part of radio saying कि भरत दवे कौन है या आदित्य जी कौन है या जशन ठाकर कौन है, because the radio brand was not a local brand. It was a national brand that was coming to Ahmedabad and starting radio, and so वहाँ पे ये nepotism का कोई फायदा नहीं था। हम सरनेम भी नहीं बोलते रेडियो पे तो कभी, क्योंकि हम अपना रिलीजन नहीं बताना चाहते, तो वो भी कोई रेफरेंस नहीं था कि कोई अहमदाबाद में ही सुनेगा फिर भी पता चलेगा कि ये किसकी बेटी है। तो somewhere that became a boon, that I could find my own identity. At the same time, yeah, it is difficult to be the lineage of such huge stalwarts. मेरे father नेशनल स्कूल ऑफ ड्रामा में पढ़े हैं, नर्मद चंद्रक से लेके इतने सारे खिताब उनको उनकी किताबों के लिए मिले हैं। My grandfather was awarded Ustad Bismillah Kha Puraskar. When I was awarded Ustad Bismillah Kha Yuva Puraskar, nobody knew, because they still don't know कि मुझे एक्टिंग का नेशनल अवार्ड मिला है, क्योंकि मैं रेडियो में काम करती थी और हमारा जो रेडियो ब्रांड है उसका न्यूज़पेपर नहीं है। बाकी सारे रेडियो ब्रांड्स के उनके खुद के न्यूज़पेपर्स हैं, तो वो उनके न्यूज़पेपर में किसी और आरजे के बारे में कैसे लिखेंगे, तो मीडिया डिड नॉट टॉक अबाउट इट एट ऑल। तो कभी कभी ये सारे लॉसेस भी होते हैं।
खलता है कभी कभार? नहीं,
खलता तो नहीं है, तो आपको अनयूजुअल लगता है कि आपको नेशनल अवार्ड मिलता है, पर आप अहमदाबाद में एक रेडियो स्टेशन में काम करते हैं, इसके लिए कोई किसी को बताना नहीं चाहता है, which is fair, I mean which is fine, it's all right. But it's very thrilling feeling कि आपके ग्रैंडफादर को जिस जगह पे अवार्ड सम्मानित किया गया था, आप वहीं पे जाते हैं और फिर वापस आके और डर लगता है कि अब जैसे हम रेडियो में बात एंड में बोलते हैं कि इंडियाज़ बेस्ट आरजे, तो लोगों को लगता है कि देखो कितना अच्छा है, हर बार जब भी बोलती है पीछे लिखते हैं इंडियाज़ बेस्ट आरजे, और मुझे टेंशन होता है कि हर बार सुन के जज करेंगे कि अच्छा ये है इंडिया की बेस्ट आरजे। तो क्योंकि हर बार आप शायद कुछ अच्छा करेंगे या कुछ बुरा करेंगे, दिन में 40 बार बोलते हैं तो गलतियां तो होंगी, सो यू माइट नॉट बी द बेस्ट एवरी टाइम यू स्पीक। तो ये सब होता रहता है, बट that's the part of the struggle
and I've seen you work actually, जैसे बात हुई थी, I've seen you choreograph dances for our college.
Yes,
which was very unlike you. Like very few would know that you are an excellent dancer as well.
Oh, thank you.
So this is added to your persona. हम हमेशा writer यही बोलते हैं कि मॉडल है, glad rags, you were in the top 5, you did this, now you're doing theatre, RJ, so there's no question, you are the queen of RJs. But then this is a new facet of your personality, but that was probably a part of the struggle where you were trying to establish yourself on your own.
I used to love dancing, so I learned Kathak, I learned hip hop, I learned jazz, salsa, and I'm still learning some parts. I can't say that just now because it's going to come in next film that I've done. तो वो उसमें आएगा. That's a new format that I've just learned. So I love dancing. So you're
now open to exploring good stories in Gujarati, Hindi cinema and
yes, all? This year in January, February, my film Hu Iqbal released. Last year I did a web show with Manav Gohil. It's called Matsya Ved. So my film and web show both are available on Shemaru. There's a new film that Rohit Roy and I have done. It's called Kerry, which is now ready to release.
Okay.
No, ready to release now. And a new one we'll start shooting in December. तो वो सब चल रहा है साथ।
सो आपका एडवाइस यूथ को क्या रहेगा? हाउ शुड सोशल मीडिया बी यूज रिस्पॉन्सिबली? क्योंकि ये डबल एजेड स्वॉर्ड है।
Oh yeah,
इसके
totally.
जितने फायदे हैं उतने ही नुकसान है। तो हाउ डू दे यूज इट रिस्पॉन्सिबली? बिकॉज दिस इज अ बिग क्वेश्चन एज पेरेंट्स ऑफ यंगस्टर्स और एज पीपल हु वर्क विद यंगस्टर्स, वी ऑलवेज फेस दिस चैलेंज।
आई कैन से दिस वन थिंग फ्रॉम माई ओन एक्सपीरियंस। मुझे बहुत सारे लोग ये कहते हैं कि अरे आप इंस्टाग्राम पे किसी को फॉलो नहीं करते, अरे फेसबुक पे किसी को फॉलो नहीं करते, एक भी फ्रेंड नहीं है। तो मेरा सबसे पहला आंसर तो ये होता है कि अगर मुझे दोस्त बनाने हैं तो मुझे फेसबुक पे जाके क्यों बनाने हैं? अगर वो सच में दोस्त हैं तो मुझे पता होना चाहिए उनकी लाइफ में क्या हो रहा है, उनके वॉल से मुझे पता चलेगा कि मेरे दोस्तों की जिंदगी में क्या हो रहा है। ऐसे दोस्त नहीं चाहिए मुझे, वो दोस्त ही नहीं होते ना, वो काय के दोस्त होते हैं। सो वो ये एक पहली बात है। दूसरा, अगर मैं रोज़ कंटेंट क्रिएट करती हूँ रेडियो के ऊपर या इंस्टाग्राम के ऊपर या फेसबुक के ऊपर, तो मैं आई एम द प्रोडक्ट दैट यू कंज्यूम ऑन सोशल मीडिया. If I start following so many people, then I will become consumer and I will not have enough time to create the product that I am. जब आलिया भट्ट ने शादी की तो बहुत सारे लोग नीचे लिख रहे थे कि अरे तुमने चूड़ा नहीं पहना और तुमने सिंदूर नहीं लगाया. तो जो लोग नीचे लिख रहे हैं ना, वो कभी आलिया भट्ट नहीं बन पाएंगे क्योंकि वो बिजी आलिया भट्ट को बताने में कि उसे चूड़ा पहनना चाहिए, जबकि आलिया भट्ट उस टाइम पे बिजी होगी उसकी नई फिल्म शूट करने के लिए. सो सोशल मीडिया पे जब आप जाते हैं तब आपको यू नीड टू हैव दैट क्लैरिटी कि आप वहाँ पे किस रीजन से जाना चाहते हैं. इफ यू वांट टू बिकम द रीजन व्हाई पीपल गो टू सोशल मीडिया, देन सोशल मीडिया इज नॉट फॉर यू. इट इज वन ऑफ द प्लेटफॉर्म्स दैट यू यूज टू रीच आउट टू पीपल एंड दैट्स अबाउट इट. तो अगर उतना डिस्टेंस रख के, अगर अपना पर्पस क्लियर होता है कि हम क्यों किसी जगह जाते हैं, मैं अपने प्रोड्यूसर्स को बोल के रखती हूँ कि आप देख के रखो कि क्या ट्रेंड में है या क्या इंटरेस्टिंग हो रहा है, क्या न्यूज़ है, आप इकट्ठा कर लो, आप उसको फिल्टर कर लो, आप मेरे पास ले आना, तो देन आई विल बी एबल टू सेव टाइम. तो मुझे बहुत सारे लोग पूछते हैं कि आप कॉलम्स में लिखती हैं और यू गो आउट एज अ स्पीकर ऑल्सो एंड यू ट्रैवल फॉर योर थिएटर ऑल्सो, और आप रेडियो शो भी करती हैं और आप फिल्में भी करती हैं, तो ये सब कैसे कर पाते हैं? बहुत ही आसान है, क्योंकि मुझे एग्जैक्टली पता है कि मुझे अपना टाइम किस जगह इन्वेस्ट करना है और मैं बहुत अच्छी तरीके से उसको प्लान करती हूँ. और ये कोई नई बात नहीं है, हमको स्कूल में सिखाया गया है टाइम टेबल से काम करना. हम प्रोडक्टिव कैसे हो सकते हैं स्कूल में सीखे हैं, कॉलेज में सीखे हैं, हमको सिर्फ रेप्लिकेट करना है. अपनी जब बड़े हो जाते हैं तो हमको ऐसा लगता है कि अब हमको कोई प्लानिंग की जरूरत नहीं है. You know, तो
we forget prioritizing कि क्या
सबसे
सबसे
it's much more easy.
है.
Like I meet my friends very regularly. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं अपने दोस्तों को नहीं मिल पाती, मैं चिल नहीं कर पाती. मैं कॉफी शॉप जाती हूँ रोज, इन सब के बीच में भी. तो you know I get time for going for drives and dating and everything. तो you know people think कि ये कैसे होता है, but it's very easy if you exactly know कि तुम्हें कितना समय कहाँ डालना है.
Exactly. You've had a very progressive mother, I must say,
Oh,
because you know she's been your
mother,
support
father,
system,
grandfather, grandmother.
Everybody,
my mother's
but like,
mother has been the most progressive person in our family, though.
I unfortunately cannot relate to her, but I've seen Aditya Ben and how she's pushed you to do something which is path breaking, we can say.
Absolutely.
And हमने हमेशा यही सोचा है, आम आदमी क्या सोचता है, आप अपने गहने, अपने जेवर, अपने पैसे लॉकर में डालते हो, बैंक में डालते हो. You put something very important in your bank. Can you tell us what and why?
Because I don't have a life partner, and would I ever want to be a mother? वो सवाल मेरे दिमाग में आया, उससे पहले मेरी माँ के दिमाग में आया था. तो उन्होंने मुझे पूछा कि तुम कभी माँ बनना चाहोगी? तो I said, yeah, sure, why not? So she said, then you know it would be a right thing to freeze your eggs. और मुझे लगा कि हाँ ये बात भी सही है. तो then we started searching for the right doctor. हमारे एक जय भाई के और मेरे कॉमन दोस्त हैं, जयेश वोरा. So जयेश वोरा और फाल्गुनी बहन वो दुबई में रहते हैं और उन्होंने अपने एग्स फ्रीज किए थे. तो उन्होंने भी मुझे सजेस्ट किया था कि अभी तुम बहुत बिजी रहती हो और कोई तुम्हारी ज़िंदगी में है नहीं, पर अगर कोई आया कल तो वुड यू वांट टू बी अ मम? ऐसा आई एम श्योर आई डोंट वांट टू बी अ सिंगल मम, बिकॉज आई थिंक, एंड दिस इज प्योरली माई ओपिनियन, मोर देन मैरियर. जिनको सिंगल मॉम बनना है ज़रूर बने, प्लीज़ बने. मुझे ये लगता है कि माता और पिता दोनों जब बच्चे के साथ रहते हैं और एक साथ कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं उसके अपब्रिंगिंग में, बच्चे को ज़्यादातर फ़ायदा ही होता है इस बात का. सो इफ़ आई वांट टू हैव अ बेबी, अभी तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है दैट आई वुड वांट टू हैव अ बेबी विथ अ फादर. तो जब वो हो तब तक अगर मैं बड़ी हो गई हूँ एंड इफ माई एग्स आर नॉट इनफ फर्टाइल देन हाउ विल आई बी एबल टू हैव अ बेबी. तो वैसे हमने बहुत लेट डिसीजन लिया, बट आइडियली अगर कोई भी लड़की जो है वो 26-27 ईयर्स की एज पे जनरली शादी करा देते हैं लड़कियों की. तो तुम्हारी पढ़ाई जैसे ही खत्म हुई कि सबसे पहले तुम शादी कर लो फिर इमीडिएटली बच्चा कर लो, बिकॉज दैट्स व्हेन यू आर मोस्ट फर्टाइल. नाउ आपकी करियर क्लॉक और आपकी बायोलॉजिकल क्लॉक जो है वो सेम टाइम पे compete कर रही होती है. एंड जनरली women and only women are asked to make a choice कि आप
फोकस किस पे करना
हाँ, तो एंड यू आर ऑल्सो ऑलमोस्ट मेड टू फील गिल्टी कि बीइंग अ वुमन तुम्हारे पास माँ का सुख है और तुम करियर के पीछे वो जाने दे रहे हो. नाउ इट इज नॉट करियर, इट इज ऑल्सो फाइंडिंग योर ओन सेल्फ कि व्हाट डू आई स्टैंड फॉर एज अ पर्सन एंड मैं क्यों जी रही हूँ, मेरा पर्पस क्या है लाइफ का. और मैं ऐसी माँ बनना चाहती हूँ जो अपने बच्चे के साथ एक पर्पस नहीं शेयर कर पाए. I don't want to be that mother. I don't think it's the right. बच्चों को सिर्फ माँ का हलवा ही नहीं चाहिए, माँ की दाल ही नहीं चाहिए, माँ का एक विजन भी चाहिए, माँ की एक पर्सनैलिटी भी चाहिए कि जो उसको भी इंस्पायर करे टू डू बेटर इन लाइफ. और अगर माँ को खुद को ही नहीं पता अपने बारे में, उसे ही समय नहीं मिला खुद के बारे में सोचने के लिए, तो बच्चों को कैसे देगी. सो इफ एट ऑल अगर आपके पास वो सहूलियत है एंड इफ यू कैन बिकम अ मदर, यू मस्ट बिकम अ मदर बिफोर यू टर्न 30 बिकॉज दैट्स द हेल्दीएस्ट टाइम टू बी मॉम. बट अगर आपके कुछ और एम्बिशंस हैं, and I'm not saying every girl should have an ambition and forget about everything, I'm just saying that if you have other ambition, then you can freeze your eggs, or then later whenever you want to become a mother you have that
liberty,
possibility.
yeah, and the
so अभी
choice
मेरे eggs जो हैं वो बैंक में हैं 10 साल के लिए. And if at all, I can also share this with you कि अगर if unfortunately if at all I won't be able to find a partner, then I'll donate my eggs to somebody who would want to be a mom or a dad, and trust me, I will have great genes to give.
Obviously. But the laws which have come about in ART and surrogacy, they're so strict currently that they have changed the entire workup. But
at least when I had
frozen
put
your
them
eggs,
in bank, that was a thought also.
Exactly. So that was a thought for years together. Correct. These regulations
and we went through tests and they said that your eggs are still as good as 28-year-old, so we were very happy.
So I think that's a very important message for our viewers, क्योंकि ये जो आप बोल रहे हैं, Indra Nui also said it very beautifully that these two clocks, they work together, and it's one of the most difficult choices for a woman.
Correct. And why I still don't know if, just like Indra Nui, I accept that can women have it all? I still think maybe not. But at least one can try. One can
try to put in the maximum they can.
Correct. She's done a wonderful interview on that.
That was awesome. I'm still in love with that. I can see it on Rewind on loop.
I know. Especially the question when she is asked, my husband was saying that, you had PepsiCo, your mother, your children. And then I was there on the list and she says, you should be happy you're still on the list.
You're at least
on the list. Great sense of humor.
Yeah. So coming to almost the last part of the interview, what is your message for teenagers? Like talking about their mental health, how to use social media, how to aspire of what they want to become. Like you said that women should aspire. It's not that everybody should not have ambitions, but आप खुद को अगर आप ढूंढ लेते हो कि what I am made for, so you can pass it on to your kids also.
I would want to say that for men and women both. मुझे लगता है especially in Gujarat, हम अपने बच्चों को बहुत ज़्यादा बड़े सपने नहीं देखने देते, unusual सपने नहीं देखने देते. चंद्रकांत बख्शी had said this for गुजराती पेरेंट्स कि अपने बच्चों की 70% ज़िंदगी माँ बाप खुद ही जी लेते हैं. कि बच्चा पैदा हुआ है उससे पहले ही मेरा बच्चा बड़ा होकर ये बनेगा, मेरी बहू आके मुझे ऐसे रखेगी, मेरी बेटी जो है वो ये करेगी. हम बहुत प्लान्स बनाते हैं. बॉम्बे में अभी कुछ समय पहले एक बच्चे ने अपने पेरेंट्स को सू कर दिया था ये बोल के कि अब तुमने मुझे पूछा नहीं था मुझे पैदा करने से पहले, और अब तुम्हारी वजह से मुझे झेलना पड़ रहा है, मुझे एग्जाम देने पड़ रहे हैं, अब मुझे कमाना पड़ेगा और ये प्रेशर मुझे नहीं चाहिए तो दो तुम मुझे 50,000 रुपए जीने के लिए, मैं नहीं जीना चाहता. Now of course this is a great exaggeration and we are laughing at it, but the fact is that we not a society that is constantly supporting each other's passion, dream, experiments. मेरी माँ बहुत सुंदर तरीके से कहती है कि जो सबसे बड़ी फ्रीडम आप अपनों को देते हैं वो गलती करने की फ्रीडम होती है. That it's okay, you know, that is why you are there. If they fall, you have their back.
Yeah.
And it's not that if you fall, I'm not there. Now you figure it out on your own.
क्योंकि मैंने बोला था कि ऐसा मत करना, अब तुमने किया, you suffer.
But as a youth, I would also want to say that if you want to go against your family's wishes or people's good or well advice, then you should be ready to pay the price on your own. And I've done it. She would have done that. All the people who would take difficult roads would be ready to have the difficult journey. Then you can't say that अब मैंने ये रास्ता ले लिया है, अब फिर से सब मुझे सपोर्ट करेंगे, अगर मैं गिर गया तो कोई मुझे और आके उठाएगा. अगर उठाते हैं तो अच्छी बात है, पर वो उनकी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है, क्योंकि आपने एक जिम्मेदार इंसान बन के एक निर्णय लिया है. तो एंड बियॉन्ड ऑल ऑफ दैट, द लास्ट थिंग दैट आई वुड वांट टू से इज दैट कि हमारी सोसाइटी मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में बिल्कुल भी बात नहीं करती है. हमारे पास दो ही लोग हैं, एक नॉर्मल लोग हैं और एक अबनॉर्मल लोग हैं. लेट मी टेल यू, हम सब एबनॉर्मल हैं. मेजॉरिटी को हम नॉर्मल गिनते हैं और जो स्क्यूड नंबर्स होते हैं उसे एबनॉर्मल गिनते हैं. दैट इज व्हाट इज एक्चुअल डेफिनेशन ऑफ नॉर्मल एंड एबनॉर्मल फॉर अस. बट वी डोंट रियलाइज कौन सा हमारे क्या स्वभाव है और क्या बीमारी है. उसके बीच का एज क्या होता है हमें नहीं पता. कोई बहुत गुस्सा करता है तो हम नहीं समझ सकते कि शायद उसको ADHD है या शायद स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया है. हम यही मान लेते हैं कि अरे उसका गर्म स्वभाव है थोड़ा सा. कोई बहुत रोता है तो हम मान लेते हैं बहुत ही इमोशनल है. पर हम नहीं समझ सकते कि कब सामने वाले का पेन जो है वो एंगर बन के बाहर आता है, या बहुत तकलीफ या कंफ्यूजन जो है वो डिप्रेशन में बाहर आ रहा है, या कोई बहुत ही हाइपर है जो एंग्जाइटी एक्चुअली है, पर हमको लगता है कि अरे उसे सब प्लानिंग चाहिए, सब परफेक्ट चाहिए. हम OCDs नहीं समझते. तो आई हैव बीन थ्रू डिप्रेशन, आई हैव टेकन हेल्प. Most of the professionals today who are working in not just in media, in any corporate sector, जो IIT खड़गपुर से भी पढ़ के आए होंगे या FTI से पढ़ के आए होंगे या सुंदर पिचाई होंगे या स्टीव जॉब्स होंगे, सबको कहीं ना कहीं किसी ना किसी जगह थेरेपी की हेल्प की ज़रूरत रही होगी. एंड हम बीमार होते हैं तो हम डोलो लेने में 5 बार नहीं सोचते, पर अगर हमारा दिमाग थक जाता है तो हमें इमीडिएटली ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं वो तो हो ही नहीं सकता. तो अगर कंप्यूटर को शट डाउन चाहिए या रीबूटिंग चाहिए, मोबाइल को चाहिए, गाड़ियों को चाहिए सर्विसिंग, तो ब्रेन को क्यों नहीं चाहिए? तो ये एक बात है जो
बहुत अहम मुद्दा है जिसको आपने अभी हाईलाइट किया है. एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ब्रिंगिंग इट इन द मेन स्ट्रीम, क्योंकि ये हश हश विस्पर्स में ही सारी बातें होती है. अगर किसी को मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यू भी है एंड दे गो टू अ डॉक्टर, दे विल नॉट डिस्क्लोज इट टू एनीबॉडी.
I've been through depression for almost 2 years and I've been on medication for 10 months. और मैं अभी भी, मुझे अगर लगता है that I need help, counseling, therapy, मैं ठीक होती हूँ तो मैं अपने साइकियाट्रिस्ट को हर महीने एक मैसेज डाल देती हूँ, मैं मस्त हुआ.
साइकियाट्रिस्ट भी मस्त हो जाता है.
No, so he'll say, Himanshu bhai will say that कि हाँ मुझे पता है, फोन नहीं आया, no news is good news is what I always consider.
There are a lot of points which have come forth after this discussion. One is egg freezing, social egg freezing, जो again IVF का नाम लेते हैं और जिनके बच्चे भी पैदा होते हैं वो डिस्क्लोज नहीं करना चाहते. They feel they are a different clan और सबको पता चलेगा तो they'll create a hype and hoopla.
Not just that, even when they want to choose the egg, they want to go through the file and say हमारी स्किन से सबसे ज्यादा कौन मैच करता है, बालों से, आंखों से. हाँ, तो बड़ा उल्लू बनाना है दुनिया को. क्यों? ठीक है ना, बच्चा चाहिए. You are basically bringing a new life to the world. And what a big celebration that is.
Yeah, that's an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of points have come forth, and thank you very much for this spontaneous discussion, and you've been yourself.
We're trained to do that for many years now.
Thank you.
Thank you.